The scene is set for Perth by night. Rafat Duta, Tremere Primogen, and Tremere Prince of Perth, Philavosia, are coming back from the Toreador Primogen's domain after a brief meeting on the golf course. And as they travel in the car, Rafat feels he's to bring up one or two matters. But first, is something that came out there is like, um, if I might ask my friends, what exactly did Musketeers tell you?
About the mission, you mean?
Yes.
Well, we haven't had a large conversation about it. He sent me a small report on how, well, he went to a group of our citizens of Perth,
Hmm.
a very eloquent group, and he offered them boons and influence, and they did not take it. They did not want it. He also told me that he asked that he was given a task by the prince, uh, but but people were not willing to help for just influence or a boon. They wanted more, so he said no.
He seemed to be styling it in a way it seemed this was coming from you, but I think others have noticed that, for example, when you sent the sheriff on a task against the Autarchus, you made it clear that there would be trivial wounds and things, so I think people found that a little bit off. But he was tasked from you. I think some were standoffish because, well, it was a task for him, and they were looking to see what they could get from it.
Yes, very well. Yes, it was a task for him. That's why I give it to him. He told me, or he gave me the intention that he could do it. The problem with musketeers I have so far, and if I may be blunt, Mr. Parnagan, the problem so far is that although I've given him a mission to get me what I need, which is finance to run this city well, he seems to be lacking in the tactics of it, to be to be subtle when it needs to be. So I gave him this task, which was very unsubtle, to go out and continue what he did with the information he had with the previous situation, which you might have noticed. He was suddenly incapacitated. That was because he went out like a fucking bull and ran into more gunfire than he could take.
that would explain things. But he was seemed to be relying a bit on your name. I
Wait, wait,
admit,
wait, 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 what? What, pardon?
he seemed to be.
What did he say? Did he say that I asked my citizens to put their lives into danger because the Tremere want money?
No, I'll actually give it a roll. I know you've seen some of the video,
Mhm.
so I will give it a roll. Would it be perception or intelligence? Because I don't have a eidetic memory, or do I actually?
I think it would go on intelligence because technically you have to remember it by
Yeah.
brain.
Let's see. So, let's say intelligence alertness. Shall we
Yes,
go?
well, intelligence. Oh, it's tricky, but yeah,
Yeah.
let's go. I would also go with intelligence academics because you're technically
Yeah.
trying to find it in your
Sure.
mind.
Sure. Academic sounds good. Give it a roll and say standard difficulty is 6. He Rafats actually with 5 successes is able to.
Yeah.
He's not getting it word for word, but he's trying to say it off, and he cites off how was tears and how a bit the back and forth went. He will point out that Persian pro tempore Creel was present, as was Asher Rosh and Charles McGowan. Charles was very vehement that we should be all standing up to the point of refusing boons from Musketeers, which, though admirable, is something that Rafat has no doubt he will grow out of. If somebody has offered the boons as a reward, if you're willing to do it anyway, there is no harm in taking up the boons.
No, what I learned from what was told is that Mr. McGowan wanted to see his situation done without boons. So it was up to somebody else to recognize his endeavor, which I think would be princely if I did. So I did. I gave him something, which was for whatever he has done. I think it would show nice of the Tremere to give him something for all his hard work. I mean, I want to try to be a benevolent prince, which means that I need to be able to give something even to those who do not ask.
The others in the city, however, as explained, is they're not from here. They're not used to our ways. Nor would I expect them to. They may take issue with it at points. Their clans do not have the. They do not demand the rigid discipline we do from our fledglings and neonates. It perhaps some of the approaches may seem unusual to them, given their clans of origin. But I think your approach that will you come rewarding them when they get involved in investigating the city and defending it for the court will work out quite well. Certainly some will latch onto it. But if I may speak frankly, my prince,
But of course, please go ahead.
perhaps Dexter Johnson charging him the minor boon might be seen as punishing. Um,
It was considered punishing, but then I wasn't given the information that he used my name when he presented the mission. What I thought he would do, in my honest opinion, and you don't have to roll, but if you want, it's 100% legit what he's saying.
I'm rolling anyway. Yeah. He's trying to understand you as best he can, so there we go.
Yeah. The prince expected him to talk to his coterie, because I've been giving missions to the coterie of the Lion's Mane, which I try to elevate. At this moment, they are at what comes to Lavoisier's mind, is the max of what they need to be very influential. And he was trying to invest in the throttling wombats who have been left behind because some people died. So he was trying to actually give him a mission and figured that he would go to his coterie, the people he trusts, and ask them. However, he didn't.
To be fair, with the actions and just loss of Alfred, combined with the Gaki's impertinent nature at the moment, and Clayton's only a step or two behind that grounds, Mysterious will have to try and recruit others to the coterie. I think he cannot expect necessarily them to come to him. His coterie has not necessarily shined. New coteries are forming. I've been encouraging some of the neonates of the city to do so. We cannot have one overly large coterie. That will not be useful at all.
I know, I understand.
If I may bring up a related note, I've been keeping an eye out, and I noticed a scheme which bears the mark of the late Count, just in some of the financial areas, of course, with use of Dominate, which I believe he was skilled in. He no doubt set things so that he wouldn't have to micromanage them, but it is my understanding that none of the enforcers have presented themselves to you yet.
No, they haven't. I'm very surprised.
None have spoken with him. When I tried to contact one of them on their phone, a individual answered, Ghoul, I believe, but they said that they would get back to me. They haven't so far. Now, given the fact that none of them have presented themselves,
No, I expected a Toreador, I believe. The Pinky or Winky, something like that.
Pinky, yes, I've made her acquaintance. I was hoping to gain your blessing. I might speak with the They have not presented themselves to the prince. However, they were previously recognized domain there, but they have not brought themselves forward. None of them. So technically, their domain is questionable, but still, I wish your blessing. I may gather together some of the lion's mane, other individuals, and the sheriff, and see if I can stress the point to them. Investigate if anything is wrong. If it is not, stress the point to them that, well, there is a prince in Perth, and they must present themselves.
I'm thinking about it. Let me think. The problem, the enforcers didn't have a large area, did they? I believe they
Mm,
are somewhere up north.
Guildford
Northwest.
area.
Yes,
Um,
Clifford area.
they have surviving members, obviously with the late Count Pinky, the young Toreador neonate, there Anton Volkov, the gangrel neonate, and I believe there was I think Alex was his name, a Malkavian, but I haven't heard Leon mentioning his name. Another I've heard. Since the city's conquered, he's been particularly recluse. Last one of them I heard from outside the count was Anton, and that is possibly as long as 2 months back.
So, what exactly do the enforcers have in that area?
Well, they are skilled combatants as a group. The count was their face man, if you forgive the vernacular.
No, no, I
But
understand.
they have a sizable chunk of the Guildford area. I'd say a third, maybe. Um, they're all skilled combatants, as I said. They're used to the warfare. Initially, I put it off as, in some of their cases, being relaxing after the fighting. I don't think they have excessively large numbers of ghouls or anything of that nature, but getting details on them, well, previously you would talk to the Count, but with him gone, I don't know what they could be up to. I
Well,
hope it is nothing.
I understand that they choose that area for a reason. Could you ask one of the harpies, or maybe the mistress of harpies, to check out why they have that area? Unless you can do it yourself. I want to know why the enforcers got that area and what might hurt them if I take it away.
From what I understand, it was given to them by the Archon at their request. I don't think there was much more to that. I suspect they wanted to be able to expand from that area. And beyond that, well, having somebody in that area to keep an eye on things. But if they're not reporting in, they're not keeping an eye on things.
Exactly. And if they're not keeping an eye on things, if they're not doing what they promised they would do, then I see no reason why they should keep this domain while I have other promising people who can do exactly that. Keep the domain and keep people informed.
Oh, I can contact the Harpies, but would you object to some of us having a look around?
No, of course not. I would gladly see what's happening. However, if you get caught, that is your own problem.
As I said, it is. They have not presented themselves. It is questionable whether the domain is really theirs at this stage. Um,
I do believe you
and
have
if I
a
go with the sheriff, it will be. I don't think they can make much of an argument at all.
no. Well, and if they could make an argument, it would be very nice to finally hear something of the enforcers.
Well, I shall see if I can find some answers, my prince.
We, I will see what I have to do about this Johnson fellow. If Mr. Simeon has not given me the entire truth, it seems a bit harsh to let him overpay for something that he wants to do only to help the city. However, I am prince, and therefore I could. But no, I will not try to force his hand,
Very well, my
but
prince.
be nice and be gentle about it. Be a little, how do you call it? Mm,
Soft touch.
yes, that's the word. Subtle.
The chantry is almost finished. The last touches will be put in. Then I'll well, although he's not trained as a butler, my ghoul will be taking up residence there. He helped me build it, and although I was quite thorough with making sure he doesn't remember any of the details, the choice is between killing him or confining him. I would rather confine him
Very well. How far and how long would you confine him?
to the chantry for his life.
Ah,
He still
well,
has.
do you think he is capable of taking such a long absence of the normal life?
I have already been speaking with him that he might be going somewhere. He's will be finishing up his contract shortly, and he'll be going on a boat trip. As you know, sometimes people don't come back. His ship might be found crashed somewhere, or it might not. We'll let the waves decide that. But he won't be coming back from his holidays to take up any new jobs.
Well, it's up to him. I would not mind having a permanent servant. It
He's
would make things easier when we start filing things.
he's not a He has an academic background. As I said, he's not trained as a butler. However, there is, as you know, a section that has been cordoned off where we can build individual rooms at a future point if we need to expand, and he'll particularly come in use there. He is, by trade, an architect lecturer, has some hands-on experience. Shame to waste the resource.
It sounds legit, yes. Hmm. Well, I guess we'll have to do it then.
Of course, my friends. And with that, they ride off talking about smaller, less important details as they carry on into the night.